Hello everyone. I've been looking for a hit and miss engine for a while and I happened to come across this 5 horsepower economy. This engine's quite heavy. It weighs right around 1,000 pounds and just moving around the yard takes a good bit of work. This is a 4-stroke engine. Your intake of the fuel and air, the compression of that fuel and air, the power stroke, and the exhaust stroke. And it starts over again at the intake. This lever here allows you to speed up or slow down your RPMs. And this lever here allows you to advance your timing. This is your exhaust valve, and this is your intake valve. And you can just push it in by hand. It's got a really light spring. These engines get their name hit and miss because they only fire or hit whenever the RPMs drop below a governed RPM. This right here is the governor, and it has a set of weights on it. As this spins around, these weights come out, and it pushes this rod right here, and it works this rocker arm. When the governor reaches the RPM it's set to by the spring, it'll cause this to get stuck behind here because this will be forward, and when this is forward it's holding the exhaust valve open. When the RPM slow back down, the weights will retract and allow this to slide back, and on the next intake stroke it'll pull in fuel and oxygen. When on the compression stroke, the cam will move your push rod, and it'll come up and it'll start to move the trip on the mag. When that comes further up, it'll trip the mag and it'll create a spark inside, which ignites your fuel and air mixture. And setting up here is your oiler for the cylinder. This tube runs all the way down and it drips oil onto the top of the piston. To turn it on, just flip this up. This adjusts the speed of how many drips. All the excess oil ends up right here to be cleaned up later. And to keep the cylinder cool, you just fill this up with water. First thing I do is turn these grease cups just a little bit, make sure we got grease on the main bearings. And the same with the rod bearing. And don't forget about the cam and the governor. There's an oil port right here. There's one right here. There's one right there. There's a place to put oil right here on the rocker arm. And also a place to put oil right here. One way of starting it is you can put gas in this little cup and you open it and you turn it over on the intake and it'll pull the fuel into the cylinder. The way I do it, I just close the choke, put my finger over the hole, then turn it over on the intake stroke a few times until I see a little bit of fuel drip. Open up the fuel needle valve on the mixer. I do about one turn, about halfway up the compression stroke, about right there. And now we're ready to start it. It might take a couple tries, it might take a little while, and it might get frustrating. You just have to have some patience and it'll eventually go.